Welcome to This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your local experts on all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Listen in as they discuss the current state of the market, the latest trends, and have a little fun while doing it. We do want to say the opinions voiced on this podcast are for general information only and not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individuals. All right, y'all, welcome back to This Week in Real Estate, where we're putting the fine and refinance. On you, Jonathan.
That's a good one. I like it. Putting the fine in finance. I love it. All right, so Bryan, you're looking a little different this week.
Well, plastic surgery is a great thing.
And fast.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Recovery is a lot quicker now, too.
No kidding. So anyway, in case you can't tell, Bryan is not with us this week. It is spring break here in Rutherford County, and he's apparently out chasing bears or mountain lions or whatever out in the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, no telling.
Who knows with that guy, He's probably, actually, knowing him, he's probably sitting around a campfire chilling with the bears. Like the bears just kind of come up,
hang out with
he
them.
hands them a beer, and they just kind of all sit around the campfire.
Right, yeah. I'm sure that's exactly what he's doing.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Pull off anything.
And he'd take a picture. It would be in his 1 second a day thing that he does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
There
I
you
love
go.
that. Bear
selfie.
For sure. Oh, we love you, Bryan. In your stead, we have Miss Taylor West, also with Primis Mortgage. So happy to have you, Miss Taylor.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Good to see you again. It's been a little bit.
Yes.
Life treating you well?
Yes, doing pretty good. I mean, I know that you used to teach at the high school I went to.
Oh, no, that's crazy, right?
Fun fact, right?
Yeah, fun fact. That was a long freaking time ago.
A long time ago.
And you've had like 40 kids since then.
Yes, I have 5, which is about 40.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a little chaotic.
I have 2 of my own, and then I have 2 that I've brought in with me. So 4. I mean that has become it's a challenge. They're all going different directions. They're all in different sports. They're all way smarter than I am. So that's intimidating.
Yeah, right.
And it's a lot. So
it's harder as they get older, I've noticed. The babies are easy because I can control that.
Yeah.
The older ones, it's a challenge.
Are any of yours driving yet?
No.
Okay.
My oldest is 12. I mean, she thinks she could probably drive.
Life is different when they drive. There's a different worry, but then there's a little relief at the same time.
I honestly can't wait.
So my 17-year-old he's actually a really good driver, and it comes in real handy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so he's a good one. All right, enough about that. So today we're going to talk kind of our normal format. We've got some headlines to talk about. Bryan sent you some notes that are typical Bryan stuff, and so we're going to do the best we can with that. Bless his nerdy heart,
I know. I was a little panicked reading all of this, but it's okay.
That's all right. You're going to do great, and then we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in real estate. I've got some numbers pulled up that are, in my opinion, they're fascinating, and it's seasonality of the market for a while. People are like, seasonality is dead. And the whole time I'm like, nah, that's BS. There's still definitely seasonality to this.
Yep.
And so I'm gonna prove that to you here in just a few minutes. We'll talk a little bit more about the NAR settlement, and there's some interesting stuff with that. And then of course we'll have our award-winning. I gave it an award, right? So that's award-winning. Yes, it's real segment with some fun pictures that we don't get to see until it's time to react. So
a little surprise.
So much fun. And we'll have a couple of pro tips. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great show. So let's roll right in. We've got segment number 1 is the headlines. All right. So first thing, I'm going to open this up with a conversation about again, that seasonality issue. So I'm looking at numbers right now from Rutherford County, and we've got a rolling 30-day comparison of the past 30 days to the previous 30 days. And what's interesting about that is that inventory is up 6%. So from January 26th to February 25th, inventory is up 6% since then. For the section of time, February 25th to March 26th. And that is after the snowpocalypse, which was January 16th is when that started. So this does take into account shutdown time,
Right.
which we always want to make sure we're comparing as much as possible apples to apples. Under contract inventory from February 25th to March 26th, compared to January 26th to February 25th, is up 14%. There's 14% more contracts. So we've seen warmer weather, we've seen sunshine, and we've seen just more activity happening since then. And I'll tell you, one thing that I have found that's interesting, and I don't know if your contract flow has been similar to this, agents are really dumping their listings on the market on Thursdays and Fridays. Yeah. So I get a gazillion auto emails, and like Monday, Tuesday, it's a ghost town. Mm-hmm. Wednesday it starts to ramp up, and then Thursday it's pretty busy. Friday, my little auto notifier for all the different searches that I have going, it's like, it's nonstop.
And this is probably a silly question, but that's probably, I would assume, because people are out right now on the weekends shopping. They know people are going to want to go look at houses. It's pretty outside. They're getting out more.
I think that's the assumption, right? I think that's what agents think is, let's show it on the weekends. And then also for the seller, it's more convenient, right? So maybe they go away for the weekend and let the house show.
Right.
I've seen multiple offers come back.
Yep.
Especially in the lower price points. I've competed twice now in the last 3 weeks.
I believe that.
But the flip side of that also is that if you want to get noticed, let's list your house on a Monday or Tuesday. And because there's just not as many, right? You're not getting 14 at a time. You're a 1 or a 2.
Yes.
So there's some ways to play with that information,
right?
If we have that information,
Yep.
Right. So that's my headline. What's yours?
Well, the Fed meeting. Obviously, everyone wants to know about rates. That's the top question I get asked all the time. Every lender does. You tell someone you're a lender, they're like, what are rates? And it's always come back with something kind of sassy. But for today,
I can't believe it.
I'm like, well, what's your credit score? Let's just do an app right here.
Yeah.
But they said they still expect to make 3 rate cuts this year. Mortgage rates like the press release and rates moved favorably. There are some who don't think that that's likely. Now, I did some little research last night on top of what Bryan sent me.
Good job.
And there are some people that the officials are arguing that we might only have 1 rate cut this year. And then there are some that are saying that the cut should be expected between June and September. So
it's a big gap.
I thought, so it kind of feels like it's all over the place with the information that's getting put out.
Well, here's what that tells me is nobody really knows.
No one ever knows. No one ever knows.
Yeah, that's the unpredictability of the environment that we're in. And here's the thing. What I like is that the Fed is not bending to consumer sentiment right now, right? They're not looking at it going, oh my gosh, we've got to drop these rates.
Yep.
They're saying, no, our goal is to curb inflation, period.
Yes. Yep.
And the way that we can do that is by controlling these rates. And until we get, and we've been saying this for a while, ultimately until the economy hurts a little bit, they're not going to do it.
No,
they're certainly not going to do it at any meaningful amount.
Right. No.
So this is my opinion. I think we're going to see fluctuation. I think we're going to see it drop a little bit. And then I think we're going to see it come up a little bit. And then but I don't think we're going to see anything that's just like, that's it. That's what I've been waiting for.
I don't think, and I probably Bryan would agree with me, but he nerded out a little bit more than what I'm about to say. I think people are expecting us to go back down to those 3s.
Not going to happen.
That's not going to happen.
Maybe ever.
No, I think we're still going to stay kind of where we're at, which isn't the end of the world. If you love a house, let's find a way to make it work for you, you know?
Yeah. I think we're 5 to 7.
I think we are too.
For, I hate to say forever because that's an awful long time.
I think this is the new normal. And I think we got used to, when I was in the mortgage business back in 2016, when I first started, rates were at 4.5% then. So coming back into this industry after a 4-year break from having all these babies, you know.
Wait, you had 5 kids in 4 years?
Well, no, actually, I think I had.
I was like, holy
I think
cow.
I had 2 or 3. I think I had 2 or 3. No, I lost count. I was pregnant for about 10 years straight. That's the truth. I mean, it was a long time. But when I came back and I was pricing stuff, I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is almost doubled. However, this is where we're at, and people are still going to buy. They're still going to buy.
The reality of it is a 2% mortgage rate or a 3% mortgage rate it honestly should not have happened.
No.
I mean, it just shouldn't have.
Nope.
And we said that, Bryan, myself, I'm sure you as well, anybody that knew what was going on, we're sitting here going, man, this is awesome for the consumer.
This is not good.
But overall, this is not healthy.
No.
Yeah.
Nope.
So, all right, good stuff. Let's move on now to our market movers. This is the stuff that's coming up that we should watch for and see what happens. So, Taylor, what you got? What's your market mover?
The GDP on the 28th, the forecast is 3.2%. The market will be looking to see if economy is cooling or still staying strong. A cooling economy supports the Fed rate cuts later this year. So, I mean, we're probably going to see a cut. I don't know if we're going to see as many as they're talking, but I'm hopeful that we'll see at least one.
And this is exactly what we were just saying. You know, the forecast being where it is, they want GDP to drop. They want us to calm down. Mm-hmm. They want people to go, okay, we're spending way too much. The dollar is too high. So let's drop that down. Yep. Let's flatten everything out. Let's deflate for a minute, mm-hmm. right? Or at least stop inflating. Good gracious.
Right, yes.
And until it does, and here's the thing, this is where it's really challenging, is that numbers, you can make numbers say just about whatever you want.
Right.
And with it being an election year, the Biden camp does not want the economy to be in bad shape.
No.
And they would rather have high interest rates than they would a recession.
Mm-hmm.
And so from their perspective, they're preaching, we're economy strong, economy strong, economy mm-hmm. strong. And we're all sitting over here going, can we please get some rate relief?
Yep.
And those are, they don't work together.
No.
So it's very interesting, this dynamic that we have right now.
Well, and I've had people say to me, well, I'll just wait closer to the election. I'm like, first of all, we are in the middle of the election. Like, it's starting. Like, we're here.
We're there.
I don't know that I would wait until closer to November because there's no telling how this will look then.
And one of the numbers that I didn't go over is average list price. So those 30-day, that 30-day rolling, average list price is already up 1% from January, February, to March, February, March. So it's already up 1% in 1 month. That's a lot, y'all. Mm-hmm. You take that out and it's even. That's 12% over the year. And I will tell you, it's never even. Yeah. So if it's 1% in the winter, then that April, May, June mm-hmm. month, it's going to be up 2-3% each month. I mean, that's just how we work. We gain most of our ground in those 3 months. Yep. And we may taper off a little, but we're going to taper off the growth that we just had.
Yep.
So
and people don't understand that. Yeah, even if things change, those prices of those homes are still going to increase.
That's it. And
they're going to get higher and higher,
And so if we drop a 0.5 percentage point, but we go up in price 5%, mm-hmm. your payment's going to go up.
Yes.
Even with the lower interest rate.
Yes.
You're not gaining ground.
No, you're not. And that's why I always tell people, like, just jump now, because you don't know what the next few months are going to look like.
Yeah. Sale price is up 3%. So list price is up 1%, sale price is up 3%. Why is that different? Multiple offers. Mm-hmm. That's what I was just talking about. And get this, month supply. So the supply, which is a calculation based on how many were listed versus how many went under contract, is down 15%. Now, we went up pretty substantially over the winter, mm-hmm. But we're down 15%. So, again, supply is short. Prices are going to naturally go up. That's just what happens.
Yep.
No, regardless of what the rates do.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay. My market mover, we've already been talking about it, is the weather. Honestly, as mm-hmm. trivial as that sounds, are we done with winter?
well, let's see tomorrow.
Right.
You know?
Or this afternoon even, right?
Right.
Yeah. If we're done with winter, then it is game on.
Yes.
And here's the thing. It doesn't even matter if we're actually done with winter. Does everybody think we're done with winter?
Right.
That's what matters. And if that's the case, spring has started and the selling season is on.
Yep.
And so it's gonna be crazy, and we've got pent up demand since probably September, and people just kind of sat on their hands for 6 months, and now they see that the rates are not going to move, and there's a whole lot of folks that are saying, I'm not going to say exactly what they're saying, but Ron's would duck it, and they're in, like they're doing it,
and those are my favorite people because they get it. You know, they get it.
What they waited for didn't happen.
Right. Yep. And now they know they have to make a move.
That's it. That's it. They're busting at the seams, and it's either that or split up their family or who knows, right?
You know, well, I think there is something to the weather. I know that it sounds silly, but it's true. The sun is shining. People are getting out. They're driving around town. They're seeing
putting their windows down.
Yes. They're putting their windows up, and they're hearing the neighbors scream next door, and they're like, I've got to get out of here.
That's why I want to move.
Like, they have to. If they're my neighbors, they hear my kids screaming, so they definitely want to move.
They're like, we got to get away from all these friggin' kids.
I'll send you to my neighbor's house after we're done with this.
Yeah, no.
Put a for sale sign in their yard.
Right. Yeah, well, y'all will we'll have to let you know when there's showings so that you can get your family out.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I'll do everyone a huge favor.
There is a property condition disclosure item that asks if there are noise issues in the neighborhood.
Oh, that's
Did you know that?
That's really
Would
funny.
your neighbors check yes?
You know, probably. I don't know. Sometimes there's yelling in my house and break up a few little cat fights between my oldest two, but.
Oh, there's yelling in my house as well. It's usually me at the kids.
Yeah, right.
That's funny.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, good stuff. Let's go to the shiny penny. So, Taylor, I don't know if Bryan adequately prepared you for this, but this is my favorite section of the show. This is my favorite segment because this is tell me some good news. What have you bumped into in the last week that was a little unexpected, right? Like you're walking down the sidewalk and you see that shiny penny, and you're like, oh, here we go.
Yep.
So what is that? What is your shiny penny?
Well, I am a sucker for a first-time home buyer. I just love them. I love to coddle them through the process. They're some of my favorite clients to work with. But first-time home buyers are able to negotiate closing costs right now. And I hate to say that they are and then someone's not able to, but I'm seeing a lot of that. I mean, they're coming back with all their closing costs covered or $6,000 to $7,000 in closing costs covered. And I think that's huge because typically a first-time home buyer, they don't have the funds sitting around. You know, they're going to HDA because they need that down payment assistance.
Right.
So the fact that they're able to get most of them, I mean, for me, all of them have been able to lately get those closing costs negotiated. That's huge.
Well, and I'll tell you, so it's interesting. Bryan and I have talked about this on previous shows. Negotiability is in play, even in multiple offer scenarios right now. And a lot of folks, and especially new construction, they want to keep their prices high.
Yep.
Because if they drop the price, then that's going to affect them on future sales through comps, right? They want to keep their prices high. But we're seeing all kinds of other incentives come in, new construction and existing homes. They'll pay some closing costs. They'll pay, some repairs. They'll negotiate. I mean, there's all kinds of things that are negotiated right now. And just the simple fact that sellers are accepting THDA offers.
They are.
I mean, 3 years ago, forget it.
Yeah.
It was a non-starter in Rutherford County.
I mean, you wouldn't have even been able to negotiate closing costs on anything.
Forget closing costs. You couldn't even get a THDA loan accepted. It was conventional, cash, maybe FHA.
Right.
Maybe.
Right. And maybe as a last resort for a lot of them, we'll take it because we've got to get out of here or whatever. But I mean, you're right. I saw that.
So anybody doing THDA 3-4 years ago, they were having to go to Coffee County. They were having to, and not Coffee County's great.
Right.
I've become a tremendous fan of Coffee County in this particular market. But you weren't buying in Rutherford County with THDA.
You weren't, and now we're seeing it. I mean, I get the contract back, and I'm like, oh, they got it. That's exciting.
Yeah.
So,
So my shiny penny is that I've had a lot of folks over the last week to 10 days asking questions about this NAR settlement. And why that's a shiny penny to me is that when it first was reported, it was grossly inaccurate the way it was reported. And it was sensational headlines. I mean, it was the blood is all over the ground type headlines, you know, like practically ambulance chaser. Yep. What do you call it? Meat wagon chasers. And it was bad. I mean, I was watching this and I'm like, this is borderline malpractice the way that they're reporting it, because it was just, I mean, it was truly false. And a lot of people, and I've spent a lot of effort trying to counter some of that within my own sphere.
Right.
But a lot of folks are asking me questions. They're asking clarifying questions. They're saying, so what does this actually mean? So they're skeptical enough about what was reported. It made no sense the way it was reported. And people are asking. They're not just taking it at face value. And that is a huge shiny penny to me. That means that they trust me. That means that they don't trust the sensational headlines. And they're thinking on their own. And man, that's good for our society. That is good for our market. And you know, at the end of the day, NAR took one kind of for the team is what it amounts to. I didn't really like it when they first did it because I didn't understand exactly what the dynamic was. Right. But they did. They took one for the team, and were they right in the end result, like the statement that was made with the end result? In other words, yes, we did it, so we're going to pay this out and settle. We could debate that for years. The bottom line is they did that so that there weren't copycat gazillions of individual lawsuits for decades to come. They said, look, we'll take the hit, we'll put it on our shoulders, and y'all just need to shut up.
Yep.
And you know, I would love to see a follow the money type investigation on that and just see exactly what happened. Anyway, we'll see if that happens.
I mean, I was listening to a podcast yesterday just kind of educate myself as a lender, you know, and he's a mortgage lender that I was listening to, and he was talking about how it looks from the real estate side. And then as a lender, how really it's nothing different for me, you know, because I've had people ask me and I'm like, you know, I like to put it off on you guys and point them to your direction.
As you should.
Because that's what's going on in your world. And for me, it doesn't seem like, from what I've read and researched, nothing really is changing for me.
Well, the biggest change that you should be aware of is that depending on how people take this news, the possibility of you having an unrepresented buyer is higher.
Yep.
And that is ultimately, it's not good for anybody, including sellers, just because two real estate agents putting a deal together, you mentioned this a little bit ago, it is an emotional, like, why does the weather matter, right? Yeah. Because as business oriented as this transaction is, it is completely shaded by emotion.
Yes.
And human behavior.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so when you have that, you need some cooler heads that understand that dynamic, but also understand the business dynamic of it and get everybody going to the same direction.
Yep.
So we don't just blow up over a refrigerator or you know, somebody taking a mirror out of a bathroom or something.
The little things, that
are highly emotional.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. You're right.
So anyway, that's the danger, I think. But I think we're going to be just fine. It's if you, as a real estate agent, if you're watching this, if you've been explaining your buyer rep agreement correctly from anyway, there is absolutely no difference in this.
Yes.
Except that you're going to have to negotiate your own compensation rather than it's just printed on the MLS. That's it.
Yeah.
There's your difference.
Yeah. I heard him say yesterday too, and you can correct me, he's thinking that the buyer's side, the buyer's agent, will see more of like a 1%, 1 to 1.5% commission.
See, and here's the thing, and this is what pisses me off, to be honest with you, is that's none of your business.
Yep.
Number one. And number two, it's none of NAR's business.
Right.
NAR has never set my commission. NAR will never set my commission. And the moment that they try to, that's when they're into price fixing, which is exactly what the lawsuit was about.
Do you think the sellers will try to hold that back. Like, well, we don't have to pay this, so we're
Sure.
not going to.
Sure.
That sort of thing.
And here's the thing, Taylor. They've always been able to do that.
Yeah. Right.
Like
yeah.
that's not new.
Yes. Yeah, I know, but they don't know. They don't know that. They don't realize that.
Now, where this gets dicey is your first time home buyer. So the way it, and this is interesting, so we'll talk more about this then, is
Sorry.
that's okay. The way that it's always been is that the buyer is on the hook for the buyer agent commission.
Yes.
Okay. But with clear cooperation, there's an advertised concession of whatever, 1%, 2%, 3%, 1.5%,
Yes.
$3,000 flat rate if you're dealing with some of the big national builders, whatever. And it's advertised in the MLS. Now, what that means is that I know going into it what they're offering for compensation. Well, on the buyer rep agreement, I also know that I've told my client, you owe me 3% for this, or 4% or 2% or whatever we've negotiated.
Right.
Okay. And then when I see that advertised, I don't choose, because I'm a fiduciary, right? I don't choose whether I show them that house.
Yes.
But what I do choose is whether or not I enforce the amount that I told my buyer they were going to pay me and charge the rest of that to them. So if they were, let's just make the math easy. If they were supposed to pay me $10,000 and the advertised compensation is $3,000, then the buyer is on the hook contractually for $7,000 out of their pocket.
Right.
It's my choice whether or not I enforce that on them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, totally. Yep.
Now, and that's between me and the buyer.
Yep.
But the seller is saying, we will pay you this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This buyer has already agreed to pay me $10,000.
Right.
They're offering a concession of $3,000 to cover part of that. It's just like closing costs.
Yep.
It's just like it.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing. And now it's up to me whether I enforce that buyer rep agreement with the buyer.
Which is why you said if you're explaining that rep agreement correctly, this
There's
really isn't a
zero
problem.
change.
Right.
Here's the biggest difference is now I'm going to go back to the buyer and say, look, the best I can do is get $3,000, in our example, $3,000. So I need you to pay me an additional $7,000. So I have to go explain that to them. The difference is in the past, I could show them on the screen, this is where they're offering me $3,000.
Right.
Now I'm like, I've talked to the other agent and I've got all these emails back and forth, and this is the best I can do.
Yeah.
So it's actually less transparent than it was before.
Yeah.
That sucks.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, that does suck.
That sucks.
Yes.
And the other piece of this is if I'm negotiating my commission with the other agent and I'm trying to negotiate a contract, guess what's going to happen? That's all going to get worked into the negotiation as to whether or not that buyer gets the house.
Yeah, you're right.
They should be separate.
So it really works. It could work against who you're representing in a way.
100% it can.
Yep.
Right? And not only can it work against them, but now let's say, so let me ask you this. Let's say your house is worth $100,000. Okay. And you're going to pay the listing agent $6,000. Everybody keeps talking about 6%.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Let's just do that.
Okay.
$6,000, and you're going to pay $3,000 to the buyer's agent and $3,000 to the listing agent.
Yep.
Okay. Now, all of a sudden, you don't have to pay a buyer's agent. Okay. So you're going to pay $3,000.
Right.
Okay. But the market says your house is worth $100,000. Are you going to automatically drop the price of your house to $97,000?
No.
Why the hell would you do that?
Right. No.
You're not.
No.
So they're talking about it's going to immediately have an impact on house prices. The market, the comps set the price of the house,
Right.
not the commission.
No, has nothing to do with it.
So now that buyer is still going to pay $100,000 for your house because that's what the market says it's worth.
Right.
And they're going to pay $3,000 to me to help them, or they're going to be unrepresented.
Right. Which is a disaster.
So they're either unrepresented or they're paying more for the house than they would have.
Right.
It doesn't drop prices.
Yeah. No, it doesn't affect them at all. Nope.
It does. Up.
Right. Well, yeah, but yes, you're right. Yeah.
So anyway, that's what's going to happen. And it's hopefully nothing will happen and hopefully everything will be fine. But that's the potential end result of this.
It's just more fear mongering, really.
It's blood in the water, man.
You know?
Bunch of sharks. All right. Shiny Penny took a little longer. I got on my soapbox. I apologize, everybody, but hopefully you learned a little bit of something out of that. All right. This is my favorite part. Are you ready for this?
I'm excited.
This is the yes, it's real.
Okay.
All right, Trent, let's see it. An actual image from an actual MLS listing.
Is it a current listing or just at some
Somewhere. Yeah.
Oh.
Virtual staging
What?
at its finest.
What?
All right, so I have so many questions. Did they clip art stuff in? Is this actually a Staples ad? Like, what am I looking at here?
No, it's so good.
Oh.
It's so bad. It's good.
Why do we have 2 computer chairs at a
That don't match.
No. I mean, and it's very, like, obviously virtual.
There's white lines around everything. You see this?
Like, who put that up and said,
Is
this
that the
looks
door?
good. This is it.
We nailed it.
Is that the door? Oh yeah.
Oh, that is the door. Wow.
So this is somebody's first attempt at virtual staging.
So this is funny because that is definitely an outdoor furniture set.
That's awesome.
100%. Everyone has that set.
There is enough room in this living room for your patio furniture.
Yes. I'm pretty sure my grandmother had that same one with orange cushions. No joke. It's like wicker.
Yeah, it's
I can
plastic
see it.
wicker.
Yes,
I know
can
exactly
see
what you're
it.
talking
Yeah,
about.
everyone has that.
Yeah.
So
And your plywood table. Oh, this is gold.
Is this a computer screen cut in half or what is this?
That
It's not
yeah.
even Photoshopped good.
I don't know what that is. I'm curious
Is
if
that
this
a
is like
plastic
the
bag?
ring and you're gonna get sucked into this television. Is this
Yeah.
is that going to the upside down right there or what?
Stranger Things for sure.
Yeah, and there's the
Get me out of
raven.
this listing. Oh.
This is lovely.
I mean, at least the door. I mean, that looks great.
That is a door.
Outstanding.
Yeah.
Good job there. But yeah, the carpet looks great.
you know, let's work on this. Is
That's so
I have
good.
so many. Sam would not do this
No,
with
he
our virtual stage. Do you know
wouldn't.
Sam?
I love Sam.
Gordon.
He coaches girls basketball, and I coach the cheerleading.
Well,
squad,
he is
so
the man, and if
He's
if he does virtual staging, it does not look like this.
He would die. He would
That's so
die.
good.
This is awful.
Yeah.
Are we done?
That's yes, please. get it off there. That's awesome.
Man, that's awesome.
Oh me. Okay. Do you see why that's my favorite segment?
Oh, I get it.
Yeah,
Totally.
it's so
That's
much fun.
great.
Yeah, because we don't ever make mistakes.
Well, no, of course not. Never. But not mistakes like that.
Not to that
awful.
level. Yeah, that's next level for sure.
Those sellers should.
Yeah.
Back up.
Bless their heart.
Oh man.
Wonder if that was a for sale by owner.
It might have
Probably.
been.
Oh, that was mean. I'm
Oh.
sorry. Okay. All right. Next segment. Pro tip.
On you.
All right. My pro tip, I'm going to piggyback on one that Taylor has already said, and that is it's time to get in, folks. I mean, if you've been on the fence, you need to get off the fence. Prices are up. They're going to keep going up. Inventory is still low, so that means prices are going to keep going. Yep. If inventory is low, we're going to have multiple offers. Even in this rate environment, the Fed has made it clear that they're not making drastic moves. So any rate movement that we see is going to be minimal at best, and it's going to be complete. The savings that you would have on that are going to be completely offset and eaten up by price increases.
Yep.
So, and here's the thing. Say I'm wrong, right? Let's say I'm wrong. You guys are still doing the thing with the discount for a refi?
The refi, yep, we still are.
Yeah, so you have kind of a safety net there. You can get a cheap refi. You can wait. And I mean, here's the thing. At some point, rates will come down.
Yes.
Like at some point.
Yep.
This year, next year, 2 years from now, I don't know. They will be
They're
lower.
going to come down.
So if you can afford it right now and you need to make the move, stop waiting.
Yep.
It is time.
And a sidebar to that, because, you know, I've talked about first-time home buyers because those are my thing. The rates for first-time home buyers are, like, THCA rate right now is awesome. So if you are a first-time home buyer out there listening, or you're representing someone who's a first-time home buyer who you've been talking to for so long, they need to jump now. It's time, because they really can get a decent rate right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and we can, and until when the market floods again with buyers with a very small inventory pool, it's just going to get harder.
It is,
and like soon.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I would say. Even over the summer, it's going to be
crazy.
a brawl.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I know I sound like I'm fear mongering. I think that was the word you used.
Yeah.
I'm really not. I'm trying to give you the best advice possible.
You're just, you know what? You're excited. You're passionate, and you know what's to come. And you're just encouraging people to.
I'm
jump.
looking at
That's
it.
Not
I mean, it's right here. I can show it to you if you want to see it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
It's backed by the data, which is my least favorite thing.
But it matters, right?
It matters. I just hate graphs. I was not good at math in high school. Okay, but it's all there. It's right there.
Do you know how many mortgage lenders I've talked to that say I'm not good at math? Like, you're not alone in that. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's terrifying to me.
I'm good with computers and people, but math is not my thing.
Well, the good news is you have all kinds of programs.
That's what I do. I just type it in. It's like, okay, there it is. But if you ask me right now to add something in my head, I'd be like, Brian's done that to me. Brian's been like, if you do this and this, okay, what's the number? Because that's how Bryan coaches, by the way. Like, he's not going to give you the answer. He will sit on the phone with you for an hour while you're mouth breathing, trying to find the answer. And then he'll give you the steps to get there. But what's the answer? So I've been in tears on the phone with Bryan before going,
Brian.
Hold on. He does not know that.
Oh, he does now?
Yeah, he does now. Hey, Bryan, you made me cry once or twice. But he's trying to teach me. But when it comes to math, I'm like, oh, yeah, in my head, not happening.
That's hilarious.
I mean, my kids asked me the other day, Mom, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a mortgage lender. And they're like, what is that? And I explained it. And they're like, so you do math all the time? You say you hate math. You say you're bad at it. I'm like, yeah, but my computer does most of the work.
That's right. That's right. That's why I have this.
Yes, right, right.
Exactly. That's awesome. All right. This has been a good episode. See, you were nervous. This is great. We're done.
I know. Nervous.
So anyway, I think the moral of the story for today's episode is don't let the headlines and your own fear get in your way. And let's do this. Here's the thing. It might not be the right time for you, but let's get with some folks. Let's get with Taylor. Let's get with Bryan. Let's get with me. Whoever your personal, whoever it is that you love, that you trust about this kind of stuff, and have a conversation.
Yep.
Right.
It can't hurt.
And just see if your fear is right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And maybe it is. Maybe you can't afford it at this point. Maybe you don't want to afford it at this point. That's fine.
Right.
But find out. If you want to do it, stop sitting on your hands, do something about it, talk to somebody that knows, and maybe it is exactly the right time for you.
I tell people all the time, even if you're 6 months out, go ahead and apply with me. It can't hurt.
Right.
I can look at it. We can see what it looks like for you. And it might be now. It might be that we need to do some more work and you're going to be ready to go in 6 months. But I want you ready to go when you want to be ready.
That's it.
Because you wait 6 months, it might be too late for you.
That's
you might have sat on it too long.
That's right.
So
nope, that's good. That's good. All right, so next week Brian's going to be back, unless that bear that he's chilling with decides to eat him, and he'll be back with us. We'll talk more about. Obviously, we'll talk interest rates again, whatever it is that affects that. Let's see, the 28th, right? That's the one we look forward to. Yeah,
yes.
GDP. So that's
yes, on the 28th. Sorry, I totally.
We'll recap that, see what happens with that news. And I have a strong suspicion I'm going to bring more numbers to you that say it's still improving. You probably need to get moving.
Yep.
We're going to beat that drum until you get it. How about that?
And Brian's going to dig all the way into it with all the graphs and all the info, and y'all will be good to go.
I'm going to sit here like this.
Yeah, that's how I felt reading this last night, but it's all good.
Awesome. Taylor, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for filling in for Bryan. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions about mortgage, feel free to reach out to Miss Taylor West over at Primis Mortgage. If you have any questions about your real estate needs, obviously give me a shout. Trent, Missy, we got anything else that we need to talk about?
That's it.
All right. Let's roll that nitty gritty.
Yeah, gotta have the nitty gritty. Thank you for listening to another episode of This Week in Real Estate with Jonathan Harmon and Bryan Nale, your go-to resource for all things real estate in Middle Tennessee. Be sure to like, share, follow, subscribe, and leave us a 5-star review. We will see y'all on the next one.
Now for the nitty-gritty. Primis Mortgage Company is a subsidiary of Primis Bank, a member FDIC. Primis Mortgage NMLS number 1894879, BK number 1042893, ML number 1894879. As always, all loans are subject to credit approval and product guidelines. Equal housing lender.